What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fear the Hive 1155
Fear
podcast.
the Hive. Fear
Yes,
the Hive. We're back. Loving it.
yes. So, first things first, now that we have one episode under the belt, I want to go ahead and shamelessly plug follow Fear the Hive 1155 on all social media. That means Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify for right now, but I'm working on getting Apple and Amazon and Stitcher and all that other good stuff up there. So definitely please follow us. We will start posting some updates. Steve and I will figure out how we're going to divvy those up to interact with you guys, but please do. We definitely want to see you guys and interact with you. Also, we are posting the link for you guys to join in as the audience. We will let you guys know when we're recording or when we're going live, so in that way you guys can join in. Definitely want to get your input on some of the topics that we're going to be talking about. And in today's show, we have quite a few topics. First week of football is kind of in the
It's a lot going on.
first week of football is going on. Fantasy. We've got some athletes that's doing some pretty incredible things. We got some other athletes that's wanting to redeem themselves. So, we got the redeem team. We also have the iPhone event that just happened as of recording this today, which is Tuesday. But you guys will be seeing this probably on Friday. So wherever Steve throws his dart at, that's where we're going to start at. So what you want to start with first, my boy?
What do you think I want to start with? You know exactly what I want to start with.
Oh, God.
Yes,
Okay.
that look of consternation on your face is exactly where I would
Oh,
like
my
to start.
God.
So I'm going to do this for the first time ever on our podcast, and probably not for the last time. And I won't do it obnoxiously, I promise.
Go
But
for it,
40-0 requires me to ask the seminal question.
man.
How about them
Yeah.
Cowboys? I just we have to look any farther than this week. We ain't got to project into the playoffs or our lack of presence there. I just want to ask: did we not look good on Sunday night?
You didn't. You guys did look bad. I'll put it like that. As an Eagles fan, I'm required to say that.
Well, okay, so all right, now I have to be obnoxious from time to time about the Cowboys because that's just how we are. Now, I will say this: beating a in division opponent, absolutely amazing. Love being an in division opponent. Looking like a team that might actually have a defense and now has two all pro cornerbacks and a safety makes me feel real good because for a long time, we could score points, but we couldn't stop anybody. Now it seems like we can stop everybody. We just can't score points. And I'm hoping that we can figure the point scoring out. But,
Yeah. I mean, they look good. They look really good. I will say that. They switched to the West Coast offense, which I'm not really a big football buff. You guys will probably understand that at some point. But I kept hearing West Coast offense, which is supposed to be quicker it's supposed to be like a cadence, really, not necessarily the check downs, looking down to make sure whoever's open. It's predetermined and is based on basically choreography.
So Mike McCarthy, he is he's an acolyte of a West Coast offense coach. I can't remember which one it is, but what he's implementing with Dak is that he doesn't want Dak to hold the ball extremely long. That's how we got into interception territory last year, leading the league in interceptions. I know, I looked at the stats and I heard it all last year. But his idea is that we want to make sure that Dak gets the ball out and he has, places to go with it quickly because the longer you hold it, the more likely you are to get in situations where you make bad passes. Not that Dak makes a lot of them, but we want to change what happened last year. And so the ball came out fast. It came out in cadence. And he didn't lose us the game. What more can you ask of a quarterback whose defense gets you? How many points they get us? To 7-14. They're responsible for like 21 points, 2 touchdowns, and then another pick that led to points. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your defense has more points than your offense right now. So,
baby, a win's a win. A
That's
win
true.
is a win,
True.
especially against the Giants. Especially against the Giants. I cannot overstate how good it felt
Mm.
to hang that on the newly minted Daniel Jones's head. Can't overstate how much.
Well, so my question is, is this one of those this is our year type deals, or is it too early? Is it too early for you guys to scream that from the rooftops?
That was our game. That was
Okay,
our
I
game.
get it. Okay,
We played really, really. Our pass rush got after the quarterback. What we do uh, in the next few weeks will determine whether or not we are actually a good team. We don't
right.
know that yet. We know we played a good game, and so if our defense plays like that, we'll have an opportunity to make the playoffs. That's it. That's all we know. That's all we know. Feels
Okay,
good, but that's all we know. So
okay,
you know,
that's good. Well, we'll switch to my Eagles really fast, and I mean, we did beat the Patriots, which I
beef.
didn't have
We got
any
beef.
doubt. I mean, it was close, and but they pulled it out. One breakout person that I did not see coming was Gainwell. Granted, he only had 54 yards,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
and same with Jalen. Jalen only had 170, which I would think is kind of low for him. But overall, they managed the game and did what they had to do.
Hey man,
Um,
win's a win,
yeah, well, hey,
especially against the Patriots. And hold on, because we got to mention. Oh gosh, we're already off. So we know that Bill Belichick just broke up with his longtime girlfriend.
Brady, right?
No, no, no. Bill Belichick just broke up with his longtime girlfriend. It's been 11 days. And so I was thinking that when I heard the news that it was going to be real bad for the Eagles, I'm glad y'all pulled out the win because clearly he came in there with a game plan to win and take out some frustration on the Eagles. But, I'm glad
Wait,
that,
wait, wait, wait. You mean he has like an actual girlfriend?
listen, man, I am a Twitter lush or
Okay.
X lush. I hate the fact that it's X.
X.
I don't have my spillable passcode yet, so I don't have an alternative. But and spoutable, it's getting there. It's not there yet. But yeah, he broke up with his girlfriend, or his girlfriend broke up with him, and everybody was like on eggshells around New England, because he's cantankerous on a good day, and breaking up with your girlfriend who he's been with for years, can put a man in a very bad position. So,
Sounds like she was only there for Brady, but whatever.
wow. You know what? I'm not gonna fall into that rumor, but I will say I'm glad you guys came out with the win. I actually am. Jalen is my fantasy quarterback. He got me like 7 points, so I'm glad y'all came out with the win. Although I didn't get any points off of it, and I lost in fantasy this week, but that's a whole nother subject for
I did too.
another day.
But I will also say, and before I start going in on this, we'll just take a moment for Aaron Rodgers and his injury. I've had that injury, and honestly, for him, he's about 40. I had this injury almost 10 years ago. Well, yeah, something like 5 to 8
Has
years
it been
ago.
that long?
Yeah,
Man.
and I came back, and at the time I'm 34 now, so it happened to me when I was like maybe 29ish. So I had plenty of time to come back, but he's pushing 40.
Can you
They're
tell
saying,
the people what it takes to come back
oh yeah,
and be just normal after an Achilles? Because I've heard people talking about he'll be ready for training camp next year, and I'm like,
nah. Even Kevin Durant, when it happened to him in the playoffs, he missed the next season and bits and pretty much majority of the season after that. So I mean, that was a 2-year process. So they're talking about a good 16 to 18 months of rehab. I mean, it's you're not this injury is hard even on young people.
yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm just out of shape. But honestly, I can say that I'm pretty much back to what I was. I can still jump, I can still dunk, all that stuff. So I got back to it, but it took a while.
Yeah.
So for Aaron Rodgers to do this, I mean, my heart goes out to the Jets because they were, and I was happy for them. I picked up Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy team as my backup, so just in case Patrick Mahomes goes down or whatever, I was gonna put Aaron Rodgers in, and the weapons that they had, I was expecting him to put up numbers.
I was expecting him to put up numbers. I have his receiver, I have his running back. But I will tell you this. So if you dig deep enough into NFL statistics, NFL has average time of return from injuries. Like they keep these statistics. And for Achilles tears, the average time of return for NFL players is 340 days until they get back on the field to do physical NFL activity, right? That's not starting. That's not playing.
Right.
That's back on the field to do physical NFL activities. That's the average. Now, of course, we know there's some people like, I think it's the running back for the Chargers. Like he's back on the field in like 8 months. There's some people that are completely freaks of nature, and they have different Achilles injuries. You have, full tears, you have partial tears, you have calf injury, you have all of that stuff. But if the average is 340 days, 300, like he won't be back conservatively
right
until the middle of preseason.
Yeah.
Right.
Even probably more than that, because I mean, honestly, it's one of those injuries where it's not like a bone. Like honestly, when I tore my Achilles, I wish I would have broken something instead, because that's structural. That gets back to where it was and call it a day. But you're talking about soft tissue. And interesting tidbit: you don't have to have surgery to repair an Achilles tendon. It is a muscle that actually it gets a lot of blood flow, and it will repair itself normally, but you have to completely immobilize your leg for like 12 weeks instead of the 4 to 8 weeks that he's going to have to go through after the surgery.
So Mr. I don't like modern medicine might be able to choose the option of immobilizing his foot in hopes that it will repair itself to the point where he can get back on the football field.
It won't be any faster. It'll be longer if he does it. But even at that, I mean, all that money that they're paying him, it's not his decision. It won't. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're calling up Kobe's doctor when he tore his. Like they're calling the best in the world, because that's just what they're gonna do. I mean, you got to get the best in the world.
Stem cells, they call everywhere. Germany, hey, y'all got any more spots over there? Yeah, they're doing it right now. And they probably have an insurance policy on him for injury because of his age. So they're probably accessing that, but that doesn't help them on the field, which is interesting because their quarterback that they sent to the bench for Aaron Rodgers came in and won the game yesterday, which I should have watched the press conference. I was too tired. I went to bed. But I should have watched the press conference. Just to see how he's responding to questions, because now he's
the guy.
And I would love it. It would be absolute comedic irony for them to make the playoffs with Zach Wilson. I would love that, because it would put the Jets in a position when Aaron comes back, whether or not they're going to keep Zach or whether they're going to keep paying Aaron an ungodly amount of money for as old as he is.
But also, that's the question. Does Aaron Rodgers even come back? Is this his sign to finally... And honestly, nobody will fault him for it if he says, you know what, this is it, I'm done, because like I said, this injury is hard on even a young person. So an athlete who's been playing for this long at 40 years old, this is rough.
Do you think his ego will allow him to not come back?
No.
I mean, because I'm thinking about Barkley. Barkley had a similar situation. He was not going to have his last moments on the court to be his injury. So he came back completely overweight, but he played to get a 2 points and a rebound. So that wouldn't be the case. And there's a part of me that thinks that Aaron Rodgers, like there's no in between, right? No. Either he's gone or he's going to try to come back and win that spot back, but he's not going to come back and play a backup. Like he's not going to come back and be a middling player.
He might just come back just to prove that he was able to come back
and then retire.
Right. Like, at least, because I mean, I give it like this: if that never happened, and they had a good season,
Yeah.
and it just didn't work out, and looking at the prospects of next season, he would probably, just like, hey, look, I'm out. Thanks. You guys paid me more than enough. I'm just done. I'm done. But what I don't want to happen, and I don't want this to happen to any greats. I don't want them to go out there and be a complete shell of themselves.
Amen. Football players, they play till they can't play anymore. They play till you have to cart me off the field. Many of them, most of them do.
So, I mean, I say the same thing. Going out there playing basketball, my wife's like, "Oh, now you too old to be going out there." I'm like, "Yeah, and you're gonna have to carry me off the court." That's just the way I am.
I give you a couple years. I think that's gonna change. At
You
least I hope that's gonna change. I used to feel that way too, and now I'm like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good. But that's the thing. It's either nah, I'm good, or you're gonna have to carry me. Like, because I put it like this: I play with ankle braces. The time and effort that it takes for me to lace those things up, I'm gonna play. But then,
well, y'all gonna get it. What?
Yeah,
no, I had to put on my ankle braces. I'm about to drop 15 on y'all right now.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get the business. So like, if you see me put on my ankle brace, it's a problem. But then after, if I ever start unlacing them, I'm not getting back on. It's not happening.
Man.
So it's like you might as well get all your dubs out while I don't have my ankle brace on, because I'm not putting them back on.
The quick transition before we get off of the NFL.
What's up?
Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, I said the name right. I've been practicing.
Let's go.
Jordan Love had the highest quarterback rating of anybody in the NFL Sunday.
Ignorant question.
Yes.
How do they come up with a QBR?
Informed answer. I have no idea.
Oh.
No, okay, so I don't know the equation. I don't know the algorithm. What we do know is it's a composite to give value to things that aren't seen in the stat sheet.
You can't quantify, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can't quantify some things. Well, some things you can, right? Aside from the receptions, aside from your completion percentage, aside from your yards and your touchdowns, there's some things that you can quantify that mean a lot more than those 4 stats. And so they add that in. But, from a comparison perspective, for him to have, if everybody's measured by the same ruler, and he had the best measurements of the day,
right,
against an in-conference opponent, the Bears, whose defense is normally okay, right? That normally, they haven't been great lately, but they haven't been pushovers either. He looked real good, and so did Tua. Tua looked like,
yeah. They say that's the most unstoppable duo in the NFL right now. That's crazy.
When you got a guy that runs 4.3 on one side, a guy that runs 4.3 on the other side, and a guy in the backfield that can catch and runs a 4.41, and a tight end that can catch. He ain't even got to be fast. All he has to do is be able to catch. Like, it's a problem.
Yeah,
and what he went through last year, the plays that have been drawn up. I watched, I don't know, probably about 3/4 of that game on NFL Sunday Ticket Rewind. Shout out to Derek Riley. Thank you very much.
Wait, you still talking to Derek?
Yes.
Oh,
man.
shit.
Look, man. Right. Derek called me the other day. He was like, yo, you still got Google TV on your computer? On your TV? And I was like, yeah, I got to sign in, but I don't use it because I use Hulu because my kids, and plus YouTube TV, that interface is garbage. He was like, I got the ticket. I was like, let me sign in right now.
Right. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's okay.
So one of the things I like to do, I like to watch the rewind games because they condense the games down to 30 minutes, and you just watch the entire game. There are no commercials and no commentary. There are only few replays, a whole game in like 30 to 40 minutes. So I normally like to watch 4 or 5 of them throughout the week. And when I had Sunday Ticket, I watched all of the Cowboys ones, all of them, right?
Yeah, of course.
I watched that Dolphins game. the plays that they have designed are designed to make sure that he doesn't get hit, which is great for him. As long as he can
That's
make
a
the throws.
big thing. That's a big thing, yes, for him, especially his troubles over the last couple of years. Yeah, that's numero uno.
And he's making the throws.
Yeah,
Like, it has to be demoralizing to know that you could be playing great defense and you could have one mental lapse and Tyreek Hill can run right past you and he can throw the ball over your head for 7. The entire tenor of the game. Because that's what it seemed like in that game. It's like, good back and forth game. Then all of a sudden, Tyreek Hill for 63 yards or something. It's like,
and he's nasty for doing that. He's absolutely nasty.
It's like Steph Curry with the threes. I'm locked in on defense, and then in one instant, game is blown wide open. So I'm looking forward to watching them play. I wish I drafted them, but
Yeah, same here. But plus, I will say my favorite coach is Mike McDaniel, their Dolphins coach.
You got to tell me why.
I love.
Got to tell me why. Why?
He is absolutely candid and funny. He's hilarious to me. Like, I love that dude. That dude is awesome. He does not care.
Okay, so it's not a hot take at all. Every time I see him and I hear him talk, I feel like he's on the spectrum. No, seriously. there are people in this. There are people that
high functioning
are highly functional, very methodical. Like, they're savants in 2 or 3 areas of their life. Is just socially they're completely awkward.
Yeah.
Right. He kind of seems like one of those guys when I see him, not necessarily when he talks, but like when I see him like walking, when I see him on the sideline, he looks like he's that locked in, and then somebody will like say something to him and he'll say something back and he's got that strange look on his face. I'm like, either you're really, really, really focused or nobody told you that you were high functioning. Like, I know high functioning people and you wouldn't know it except for when you see them lock in, you go, oh, I get it now. Right. And
he also went to his college. He went to Yale, which is interesting because I don't think I've ever seen a college coach come from, that in like an Ivy League school like that.
It's a good question. That makes me want to Google that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's, it's an interesting, to me, as someone who likes to watch Love on the Spectrum, don't judge me. It's an amazing show. It makes you consider so many things that you would not have considered, right? And it warms a place in your heart for people that are on the spectrum. Like, you understand them a whole lot better, and you see them, more in a light that is similar to yours. Like, you connect with them. Right. And watching this, I'm going, if we were able to view how they view the world, then things would be a whole lot better, because we're missing out on so much value of their personhood because we don't understand how they view the world. Like, we can't communicate with them, or we don't see them as normal. And he's like one of those, to me, he seems like one of those guys, like, he's got like a very small tick to it.
Yeah.
But man, is he brilliant. Like, he just walks around and he knows this stuff.
Yeah.
And in doing so, went from Yale to being on the sideline in Miami, which is a very interesting and not singular, but, a story that you don't hear much, I would have presumed. I'm going to have to Google it now.
Yeah.
But you said so, but,
Oh, yeah. But also, a savant in her own right, champion was crowned at 19 years old of the the U.S. Open?
U.S. Open women's champion from the United States, Coco Gauff.
That's what's up. I love it. And it's funny because, we were just at a point in women's tennis where we were like, man, Serena's getting ready to retire, man. Who's going to take up the mantle? And here comes Coco, just like, I got it. No problem. Don't worry about it.
How bored is the thought of women's tennis without Serena, Venus, people like,
or Naomi Coco, right now. Naomi Osaka. Yeah, she just had a
her grown woman thing, Yeah. But it seems like there's a wealth of great women tennis players, but nobody cares unless they're people of color. Like, which is interesting because, you know, people in my family watch tennis. Like my mother-in-law, she goes to the US Open like every 2 years. Like she flies up, she goes to the big court, she does all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And so you have to be aware of tennis. My mother likes watching tennis too.
Yeah.
And these women are amazing athletes and the game is great. It's just that nobody in America pays attention until Coco is in the semifinals and we go, wait a minute, this girl is good and she's been good for a while, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
And no, you're 100% right, and that's the thing. I mean, for us in the African American community, we definitely, it's like we got into tennis, and like I said, it was to a point to where we were like, man, Serena and Venus is getting ready to go. Like we're not gonna watch tennis anymore. But then here comes Coco, and I mean Naomi as well, but yeah, she's doing her thing. So
Naomi
Coco,
came out of nowhere. Coco was kind of like a story that we
right?
know. Like we saw her, and like there's this social media video that's going around of her at the U.S. Open when she was like 11, like dancing in the stands and something like that, which is really cool because now she's won the U.S. Open, and it's like we know bits and pieces of her story, which is amazing. I wonder what it's going to be like for the country to reckon with her as a woman as opposed to a kid, right? She's 19. So
Yeah.
she's young, but she's not a kid by any stretch of the imagination.
I was just about to say, yeah. I mean, at 19, you just won the U.S. Open. You're getting ready to get flooded with tons of endorsement deals and money. You're
Yep.
not a child anymore.
Nope.
You're not. You are actually a woman at that point. I mean, not by my standards, but just by the standards of the situation that you're in. Like you are a woman because you're gonna have to balance all that money. You have to balance all the fame. You're gonna have to balance the dudes throwing throwing themselves at you. The unsolicited pictures. If somebody ever got your phone
Wow.
number, like you
Are
got
we
to deal
now?
with all of it.
Are we back in Instagram DMs? I thought we left that last week. I thought
Nah,
that was me on that last week.
hey, yeah. Instagram until Instagram goes away, sliding in people's DMs is always going to be a thing. But yeah, you have to balance all that. So I mean, in no way, shape, or form is this girl a child no longer.
Did you see the video of the security guards flanking her and her parents so that they could have a moment after the U.S.
Mm-mm.
Open? Like, so there's this video going when she goes into the stands to go and hug her father, who was in the box. He's her coach. Her mother was there. I think it was her sister or her aunt. She has a very strong family structure, and they've been supporting her invisible for a while, which is why
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily concerned about her matriculation into being a full blown respected woman in
right.
tennis. But there's like a video of a bunch of security guards, all of them people of color, taking the time to flank her. And it's amazing.
Mm. That's good.
It's
I
amazing.
was just
So,
reading a little bit of the article that you put in our workspace, and that came with a $3 million paycheck.
and she ain't got no debts. Somebody asked her, like, what you gonna do with all that money? She's like, I ain't got no debts.
Yeah, somebody was like, pay
I'm
our debt. It's
good.
like, man, what you guys
All
don't
of
understand
it?
is once you make that kind of money, debt is completely irrelevant to your life. Like it doesn't happen.
Hey man, I'm happy for her. And, she opened up the check. I'm happy to see her win. I'm also happy to know that we get to root for her to do it again. I really am.
I want her and Naomi when she comes back to be as dominant as Venus and Serena. Like I want to see those two go head to head, for years to come. Like
That'd be great for
that's what
tennis.
I want.
That'd be great for the world. That'd be great for our daughters, to be able to see that representation. So,
Yeah,
oh,
representation is a big part in our lives right now. Like, I mean, I would hate to go on a job and not see people like myself, or even people like of any other race. Like, honestly, because that would make me uncomfortable.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I will say this. I'm starting to watch more content that is not centered in white American or even Black American culture. Like I want to
Yeah,
see Hispanic stories told by Hispanic people. I want to see Chinese and Japanese and Korean, I
Yeah.
won't be told by them, as opposed to be told by somebody that looks like me or somebody,
Yep.
that is, white from America. Like, because it makes a difference. It really does.
So a story that I have about that is I'm not sure if you ever watched like Sons of Anarchy. So that was a great show. I loved it. And then they came out with Mayans MC. And what's really good about it is Kurt Sutter actually put Elgin James, who's of a Hispanic descent, in charge of that. So it's a Hispanic story told by them. And it is complete. It's just, honestly, it is
That's
just as good.
dope, yo.
Yeah, it is just as good. So if anybody had, I mean, the series is gone now, but I mean, if you watched Sons of Anarchy and didn't know about Mayans MC, I definitely suggest you watching that show. It's really good. But I mean, I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, it makes sense. Who's best to tell the story? You have to get the people who's endured, whatever the story is, and they have to tell the story. That's the only way you're going to get that effect that you're looking for.
I did not know Sons of Anarchy was written like that, or not Sons of Anarchy, but Mayans. So I did watch Sons of Anarchy. I just didn't pick up on Mayans because I started watching something else. But I may go back and give it a view because I like Sons of Anarchy, and if it's written that way,
Yep.
that draws me to it. I want to know and I want to see that.
And for
Because
the Sons of Anarchy fans, you have some cameos from people from Sons of, like, there's some crossover. So definitely, they bring this element. It does, and they don't lean on it too heavy either. So it's sprinkled here and there, just like, oh, I remember that guy. All right, cool.
that's pretty dope. I like that. I like that. So
Okay.
look, Coco Gauff had an amazing weekend. She did something historic. She represented for her people.
Yep.
There was another story this weekend of a man that represented for his people and did something amazing. Can we talk about the Colorado Buffs streaking by beating Nebraska and beating
No, no, no,
Nebraska?
no, no, no. They
Not
didn't
only
just
just
beat them; they beat the brakes off of them. They didn't just beat them. And this is a good story because uh, the head coach for Nebraska used to be the Carolina Panthers head coach, which I think as a Panther, yeah, I'm okay. I am an Eagles fan, but I live in Charlotte, so I do have somewhat
yeah,
a
yeah,
heart for the Panthers.
yeah, yeah. Which
So
means
I
you hate
actually
Matt
want them
Rule
to.
like all Panthers fans, right?
Yes, he had to go. He had to go, and that was a masterful performance by Shador. Like I think everybody. It was star studded. You had Michael Irvin there. You had Stephen A. Smith there. They were just
Man,
they were just missing the barbecue, missing the electric slide, the potato
can I tell
salad.
you this? Saturday morning was on fire. I
Oh
wake
yeah,
up and I open up my Twitter, right? Not Michael Irvin, Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith getting on the private jet to fly to Colorado, right? Those pictures from the night before, which is really dope. Then you get pictures of Wu Tang at the
yep.
game. The Wu was at the game. Then you get all these NBA players and a bunch of other stars were just there. And now Colorado home games are the it event, which
Yep.
is amazing because now Dion, not only does he have a platform, not only does he have notoriety, but he has the eyes of the nation. And college game day is going to be there this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So as long as he wins, which we know he's going to lose sometime, we don't know when. We
Eh,
know it's going to happen.
yeah.
But beating Nebraska in the way that he did, I'm scheduling my Saturday around what he's doing. Like, it's a must see event. Now, can we talk about Shador? Can we
Oh.
talk about Mister? I'm showing you my rollie before
Oh.
the game. I'm showing you my rollie because you standing on my buffalo and you need to get off my buffalo,
Get
Mister.
off.
I'm going to win the Heisman
Get
as long as
off.
Caleb Martin doesn't go undefeated, right? Like
Yep.
this kid, man, talk about a flair for the game.
So one thing that I thought that was interesting. He In every situation, even the bad situations, he did exactly what needed to be done in that situation. He was never frazzled. He was never rocked. He did exactly like you thought this man was an NFL QB that just went back to college. An experienced NFL QB that went back to college.
I mean, there's like one knock on his game at this moment. Like the only
Yeah,
thing that you could say at this moment is he takes too many sacks, right? Because in
true.
that game, he took too many sacks.
Yeah,
But he took sacks so that he wouldn't make bad throws, which is a decision that you can teach out of in an NFL if you got to. But the
yeah.
throws that he made, amazing throws. The play calls and the way that he ran the plays, the fact that he didn't get overly emotional throughout the game, with the exception of that the touchdown that he scored where he ran it in and he took off his helmet, right? Like he was on point, and not just him. Like
Yeah.
he's the star of the team, him and Travis Hunter. But the rest of them boys come to play every Sunday.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
they are
They're the
believers.
face. They're the face, but don't let that fool. Don't let that fool anybody.
Like, and I'm thinking to myself, if Deion's got him playing this good now, you know, come USC game, which I
Mm,
think is 2 weeks from now. I want to say
mm.
I had the schedule pulled up just a second ago. But come USC game, it's gonna be a monster. They got Colorado State. They're gonna beat the wheels off of them. But they got Oregon on the 23rd. And like we said last week, the Oregon USC back to back is going to determine what the rest of their season looks like. If they
True.
can pull off Oregon and USC, they might go undefeated. If they go undefeated, it's going to be pandemonium.
Look, now here's the thing. They have to take a loss, maybe two, because I think if they go undefeated, they're going to get snubbed for a bowl game. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's gonna it would
They're
be
in a
they
Power
would do
Five
that
conference.
this
This
year.
is the last year of the Pac-12. They so and
They
with
would do
Alabama
it.
losing this weekend, Alabama lost this weekend.
Mm.
So it's wide. Alabama lost. Clemson's already lost. Like
Oh
it's
wow.
wide open at this point. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I like I said, if they go undefeated, I think that's for anybody. That's a lot of pressure. And I'm sure they can live up to it, but I'm just saying that's a lot of pressure going into a big bowl game like that. I think, 1, 2 losses should just get it out your system so you understand the weaknesses. Uh, but yeah,
they hate that man. They hate that man. They do not like Matt Rule. Here's the funny part. Everybody in my sports group chat hates Matt Rule. Now,
yep.
they may not have all been on the Deion train, but at least for that one day, they would we chatting, go for it, Deion. Go for it. Throw the ball, score.
Oh
They,
yeah.
it's a lot of hateration for Matt Rule at this point, and
Look.
I
The
have
only
to see
thing
it.
we're waiting on, the only thing that's gonna put the icing on the cake is like Lil Wayne and Jay Z showing up at a Colorado game. You do that, that's it. All right, it's yeah. Colorado's a destination to be. I mean, during Saturday or home games, and honestly, probably not even just home games. I mean, yeah, as soon as you see LeBron and the rest of them, it's a wrap. It is a wrap.
Yeah, you know what? I think if they beat Oregon, I think that USC game is probably going to be the highest rated game of the year.
Mm,
If
I
they beat
agree.
or if they go into the USC game undefeated, I don't. They're probably going to change the time on that game because
Mm,
everybody's going to be watching. And
hmm.
so, I look forward to. Hopefully, I'll have my smoker by then, and I can throw some wings and some ribs on the smoker and get it popping.
That does no good for me.
Look, man, hey, I understand, and the best that I can do is make you some nice iPhone videos with my iPhone 13 and send them to you
Uh,
because my iPhone 15 will not have arrived in time because I won't get it to the end of the month. Well, it comes out is it
next
22nd, I
week.
want to say.
Yeah, it's 22nd
So,
next Friday.
but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
so Okay, I said iPhone, and I shouldn't have said iPhone.
No.
Let's talk about the
We'll
iPhone.
say, okay, all right.
Let's talk about iPhone.
So,
Can I say take my money now? Can I say
oh,
that? Can I
oh
say
man.
that? Like,
So, so the iPhone is usually this is a phone that you don't necessarily need to upgrade every year, but this year's upgrade is enough to be like, you know what? Okay, yeah, take my money. Yeah, here, here, Tim. Tim, just take it.
I
Just
love
have it.
Tim because Tim will sit right up there and he'll look at you with that straight face, knowing that he's been planning on hitting your wallet for 3 years. He's been planning on hitting your wallet. He's been holding off on using the word titanium for
Oh,
3 full years just to make sure that on
yeah.
this day he can put you on notice that you're gonna come up off of $1,500 at the end of September.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
saying, okay, Tim, run
yeah. All right.
it. Let's do it. And the sad part is it ain't even really fully titanium. Titanium. It's aluminum. It's titanium coated aluminum. I don't care. I do not care.
And the sad thing about it, he laid the groundwork for this because by giving us the Apple Card. It was like, hey, Tim, you want my money? I'll give it to you on my Apple Card that you gave me. So yeah, thank you. But yeah, like you said, it's titanium. You got the A17 Pro, which is an upgrade from last year's A16, which the A16 is in the 14, and I believe the A16 is also in the regular iPhone 15. But the big story about the iPhone this year is, come on, don't do this to me. Is USB C. While I'm scrolling to it, USB C has been long touted that they were going to switch for the longest. And I think they had one more year before they officially had to switch due to the EU deal. And so they decided to do it, I believe, like a year early. And which makes sense. You should just if they're going to require you to do USB C, just go ahead and make the switch. It's universally compatible. You already do it on your MacBooks already.
iPad and MacBook.
Yeah, iPad as well, the iPad Pro. So it's like, yeah, you might as well make the switch on the iPhone. And as you can see, it's enabling 20 times faster file transfer. And I saw during the keynote today, somebody had their iPhone set up in like a studio session where as soon as you hit the button, it basically goes to the computer for editing immediately. And I was like, you can set up a whole studio
Okay.
shoot with just an iPhone and an iMac or a MacBook or whatever.
So hear me out. I round this 3 times to make sure I heard it and I understood it. The way that they configured this iPhone is able to do 2 impressive things with
Mm-hmm.
its new 48 megapixel camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. First thing it has is on the Pro Max version, right? It's got 5x telescopic zoom, if I said
Yep.
this correct, and 20x optical, which is amazing because there's not enough space to do what they said it is doing, but they created a new way of doing it. They created space by using different mirrors to make sure that there was enough light travel to have the best aperture, which is amazing.
So the way that they did that is basically you have it's comparable to having a 120 millimeter lens on a camera, which is about this long. It's a pretty long lens, and the way
Yep.
they did it, just like how Stephen was saying, is they're reflecting it off of like three reflections somehow, and they call it like tetra something. I can't.
Tetraprism.
Yeah,
Tetraprism.
tetraprism. And so yeah, they're emulating the distance that it would take in order for light to travel back to the sensor. And
Yeah.
yes, it's good.
But
Yeah.
then that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part, they did all of that, and then they arranged it so that the phone could, like you said, be connected to a computer in real time, but it
Mm-hmm.
also could be connected to a external hard drive and recorded
Mm-hmm.
directly onto that. Which, if you've ever done video recording or video editing or live streaming with an iPhone, is the holy grail. Matter of fact, with the Pro Max version, with a USB 3 cable,
Mm-hmm.
apparently you can transfer like 4K at 60 FPS. Like, you can transfer 48 megapixel ProRes RAW. Like
Yep.
this is amazing stuff for
Yep.
people that use it in that way. And I'm looking at this going, I'm not going to use it in that way, but I
It's
still
nice to
say
have,
no.
though.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's nice to have. And then they also brought they got rid of the switch on the side and gave you the action button, which is
action
fully
button.
customizable for either silent mode, focus, camera, flashlight, voice memo, translate, magnifier, shortcut, or different accessibility features.
The
I'm with
shortcuts is where
I'm
the
with
money is.
I'm with
Because
it.
if you dive
Automation.
into shortcuts enough,
Yep.
life becomes very, very interesting. Like
Yep.
I'm about 10% into shortcuts. But with that button and with the things that it can do, it makes you want to dive probably a 20 or 30 more percent into it just because there's a wealth of things that it can do.
Oh yeah.
Are you getting the Apple Watch Ultra 2?
No. That's phone money. That's phone money. I can't. I can't because this. So I have the Apple Watch Series 3,
Me too. Me too.
and this is what 4 years
Man, this thing like
old.
10 years old, man. What you talking
Like I stopped getting updates like a year and a half ago. So and not that this is something that I'm going to replace. So I don't see the point in me spending $800 to replace this in 5 to 6 years. If it lasted 10 years, maybe, which it probably will, but still, I just no. If it's something that I'm going to replace every 3 to 5 years, like $300 is my max. That's just me personally, and I'm just being real with y'all because I'm not gonna front and say, oh yeah, I'm getting all the new stuff. I upgrade my phone like every 2 years, my watch like every 3 to 4 years.
That's how I know you're getting old. Because when we started in this game, we upgraded our phones every 8 months. That's what we did.
Well, but
We
also,
upgraded our phones every 8 months and our iPhones every single year. Matter of fact, let's see, this is the 13. Up until the iPhone X, which I did not get. That was the first iPhone I did not get.
hmm,
And the only reason I didn't get the iPhone X is because I just added another phone on my account with me and my wife and my son. And
hmm,
so I could not fathom getting myself a phone and my son a phone at the same time.
right.
The numbers, I just couldn't make myself okay with. And I'm in that same boat at this junction. It just so happens I got my children's phones earlier in the year. So it's me time. It is me and my wife's time. It's
Sure.
time for us to upgrade because we have 13s and they are slow.
Well, but here's the thing: Apple has done a great job with making devices that last longer than the usual. Back when they had subsidized contracts, these work better than just the 2 years
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
would normally allow for a phone. Like honestly, this is the iPhone 10R. This is my daily shooter, and this is what I shoot my church's sermons with.
Live
So
stream off of that. Wow.
no, I can live stream off
Oh,
it,
like
but I
this
just
on
shoot.
YouTube.
So I shoot
Yeah,
in like 1080, 30 frames a second. But then this is my daily driver. So this is the iPhone 13 Pro.
yeah, yeah.
This will be replacing this, and this phone is already 5 to 6 years old. So the fact that it has a second life as just a camera because I'm an idiot
Yep.
when it comes to cameras. Like I just needed to point, like give me the
Point and
features.
shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, point, shoot, and let me toggle a few things here and there, and we'll go on from there and call it a day. But this is going to replace this, so I'm excited for the next phone. Because I'll just be playing with it, but this is going to start doing heavy lifting, which means the features in this thing is going to take what I'm doing currently to the top. By the way, shameless plug, everybody, if you don't have a church home, Resemble Church, QC, Resemble Church on YouTube, get there. But other than that, yes. I mean, every 2 years. That's what I'm looking at. Every 2 years for these.
Hey, look, man. As a person that I get them every year, I'm used to getting them every year, and it's hurt the last couple of cycles I didn't get one.
I want that dynamic island. I don't know why. I just
I
want
was just about to say that. Okay, so
it's the only thing I
they're
want.
13
Everything else is whatever.
there are certain things that are just symbols of status. And we know this about iPhones. We know this about iPhones. But not having a dynamic island, oh my God. It's embarrassing. It's not, let me not say it's embarrassing, but it's freaking embarrassing, yo. I pull out my phone. Everybody else's island is opening up and doing all that stuff. I got this nice U-shaped thing on my phone. Like it doesn't do any cool stuff. It's not always on. I'm looking at this thing going, I guess I'll wait. But the
Yeah.
wait is quickly, quickly coming to an end. And I'm trying to decide that Apple Watch Ultra, I said the same thing when it came out. I said maybe I'll get the second version. And then I thought about it. I'm not buying an Apple Watch every 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. Like not for how much it costs. I could get an actual watch. Or I could miss 2 cycles and go get like a really adult watch, right? So
Right.
maybe if someone gives me one, I'll have one. But I don't know if I'm going to go buy one. But I'm
Now,
certainly get the titanium. That's for sure.
Now, I will say, when we get to the watches, like the Apple Watch, I do think that they have very good practicality.
Oh, certainly.
I like the fact that my health is tracked unconsciously.
Yeah.
And that's something that I can present to my doctor. Granted, they may not see it as actual data for them, actionable data for them, but it does give an insight into your daily life.
That's only because your watch is too old. Now, if you get like the 5 or the 6 or the 7, they actually no. I'm sorry, I had to. I got the same watch. I know exactly what it is. But no, like the newer ones with the O2 sensors, the crash detection is better, or the fall detection is better. Can I say this, Apple? If you're listening, I need for you to please fix fall detection. I'm a very large man. I play with my children from time to time. And just because it looks like I've fallen, it doesn't mean that I need emergency services. Okay, like we'll be playing wrestling or boxing or whatever, and my phone, if I don't see it, like it'll buzz. If I'm wrestling, I won't see it, and all of a sudden it starts making that sound. And I go, oh my gosh, there's gonna be EMS here. I need for y'all to figure that out. Like if I put in my weight, you need to change the calculation so it don't, hey, did you fall? No, I didn't fall. I got knocked down. There's a difference. I'm okay.
Yeah. The velocity at which I hit the ground is different from falling versus just playing around.
Oh, look. By the way, the reason I thought about the Apple Watch Ultra for a few reasons. The satellite connection, right? The satellite connection, the battery life, right? You're talking about 36 to 72 hours worth of battery life.
Right.
And a reason why I thought about getting actually another watch, so I thought about getting the 9. They're giving you roadside assistance with satellite location, which for most people, they're like, I don't know what that means. It's like having AAA, but for your watch, which it actually is AAA because they partner with AAA to give you that for 2 years, which means that if you're in a crash or if you have a situation, if you run out of gas, you're on the side of the road, your phone, your watch, whether you have cell phone service or not, gives you the opportunity to connect with AAA and get roadside assistance, which is amazing. Like this, it's almost worth the price of the watch itself. Almost.
No, yeah, you're right, 100%. I'm definitely with you on that. Those safety features cannot be overstated enough. Not that Black people really go hiking, in the woods like that, but it's nice that if I get somewhere and I don't have cell signal, then yes, absolutely, sure, I can connect to the satellites.
You can be in downtown Charlotte and not have cell signal. You know what I mean? Like I've been to a couple areas. I won't name where because y'all don't even know where I be traversing. But there are places where you don't have signal and you try to get out of there and you really need a watch that has. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm telling myself. But no, it was a good presentation. Happy to see a whole bunch of things that they brought forward. Not happy about that it's going to be.
Speaking of that presentation, if you guys watch it, there's a skit in there with Octavia Spencer.
It's amazing. I love it.
It was good. I like that so much. That was really good. And basically, she was there to make Apple give an account of like because they have this big what's this thing called? they have this big initiative for like going green or net zero
Carbon
by
neutral. Carbon
yeah,
neutral
carbon
by
neutral.
2030.
And she's there to just make sure that they give an accurate report of what they're doing. So she's like, "Well, what are you guys doing to do this?" And they're like, "Oh, well, the the batteries in the iPhone, they are fully recyclable, and we're recycling all the cobalt and blah blah such and such." And she's like, "Oh, okay, all right." Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
it's
can we talk about that for just a minute?
what's up?
Because if you listen to the announcement, that skit was like the intro
Yes.
into this entire conversation that they're doing around recycled materials,
Yep.
which is genius for them because it makes sure that they have a source of materials. Right? I used to wonder why they were giving all this money for recycled old Apple products, and they still are. Um,
Mm,
but they've gone through and they've taken the time to figure out processes to remove the metals and some of these
yep.
other rare earth materials from their old products, recycle them, and then use them again to help their new
Bring down
products
the
become
cost.
carbon neutral. Like when they were talking about the recycled cobalt batteries, the recycled copper wiring, the recycled aluminum, even the stitching for the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is recycled. Like the Nike one is like recycled Nikes, like in your watch band, and the woven
Yep.
material is like recycled woven material, which is amazing. Like what they say, the Apple Watch 9 is the first completely carbon neutral product that they have.
Yep.
And they're endeavoring to make sure that all of their products are carbon neutral, which is great, not just by recycling, but by purchasing tax credits, carbon credits, and by planting trees, which they're doing in droves to make sure that they at least appear to be responsible, which I can very much appreciate because I would like the earth to stay around for
Hmm.
quite a while longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, and I was trying to find this, but I wanted to put this out there because I want people to look at it as well. But I saw a graph earlier today that showed, in conjunction with what you were saying about them recycling the materials of the iPhone, this allows them to create the current version of the iPhones somewhat cheaper than in the past. I saw graphs where these versions of the iPhones are the cheapest that they've ever been to start, and this is also inflation adjusting as well. These are the cheapest, and which is actually pretty interesting because when they got rid of subsidies a long time ago, everybody y'all remember this, you used to be able to upgrade your phone for like $100 or $250, and that just be it until they did away the subsidies, and now we had to pay the cost of the phone. That's why you're paying $20-$30 a month for your phone for like 2 years and still haven't paid it off yet, even though you're still trying to figure out how you're going to get this new iPhone. But but yeah, so the fact that they're able to bring down the cost, and I'm sure it was a long time in order to get to this spot here, but they did it. And it's definitely something to help bring. As long as they can manufacture these at a very cheap cost, that helps them. Granted, it does suck for us because that we do have to pay for storage, which honestly the storage is stupid cheap at this point. But that's another
Well,
conversation for another time.
the question now is how smart is Tim Cook and his team? They set a 10-year plan in place so that they could systematically lower the cost of their materials and simultaneously shore up their supply chain,
Oh,
right?
hey,
And
Tim,
then
Tim's
be
the money
carbon
guy.
neutral.
Yeah,
Like,
Tim is the money guy.
like
Like like
that's
Steve Jobs was the innovator, but yes, Steve Jobs was the innovator, but
yeah.
Tim Cook, he's the money guy. He's like, all right, I'm gonna take you from here. I'm gonna take you from here to here, and he's done it.
When you're looking at it, you're going. I can really appreciate. Well, for me, I can appreciate that approach because it speaks to longevity, right? I'm buying these products so that I can keep them around for a while, right?
Right.
And the simple fact that Apple is doing this means that they're looking forward, not only in terms of technology and innovating technology wise, but in terms of making sure that from a supply chain perspective, which I dabble in, like I don't ever have to worry about Apple not making iPhones ever again because
Right.
they're taking aluminum from MacBooks that they created in 2010 that they have in a warehouse, repurposing it and making iPhones out of it.
which
Great.
which is really good. It's awesome what they're doing, and I'm pretty sure that's going to continue. They're just going to get better and better at it at this point. I mean, like my wife, she does trading and whatnot, and one of the things that she's always preached to me is the fact that Apple, even when it moves, like it seems like only $1, the stock moves like $1 or so, but that is big movement. That is billions of dollars right there, and like I said, Tim's the money guy. He's gonna boost your stock valuation, so in that way the company's more valuable in the end, and they're just continuing to climb.
Look, man, I would love to continue to talk about Apple, but I don't want us to be accused of being Apple fanboys, which we are. We just have love and appreciation for other companies as well. I will say this: wow, he's flexing. Is that an Apple screen?
No, it's an iMac. But I mean, come on now. Like I want to say I'm not an Apple fanboy. From an IT perspective, like I said, they just work, and I can appreciate the ecosystem and the fact that it just works.
Look, I talked to my insurance guy. He said, "Okay, so we're going through the list because adding insurance, right? So, how much do you have in electronics in your home?" I started counting my Apple devices. He was like, "So if your house burned down for electronics, would you be able to replace your electronics for $10,000 or $15,000?" I was like, "No."
Not even close.
Matter of fact, if my house burned down, my policy would just cover the clothes. It would definitely not cover the electronics. Definitely not cover the Apple stuff. None of it.
Nah.
But alas, that is we'll be down. Oh, one last thing. Did you see? It's buried very, very deep in the announcement, in the portion that talks about the iPhone 15 Pro Max, that it records in 3D for the Vision Pro.
Oh yeah, spatial video for the Apple Vision Pro. It takes the 48 megapixel camera and the ultra wide and puts it together. So then, that is insane. I don't have that kind of money for an Apple Vision Pro. So Apple, if you guys want to be nice enough to send it to us, that'd be really great.
I thought it was dope though that they buried it like some of us wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
And they do that a lot, but that's a big thing because in the next iteration, or at least in the coming operating systems, that capability will be given to developers, and what they're going to be able to do with it is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Look, I know you see this backwards, but devices is this number here. That's 70 devices in my house.
Oh, you're worse than I am. I thought I was bad. I had I kind of went. It was like, I don't know. It was like 52. Oh man, because I was on the phone with Google Fiber. He's like, "So, are you sure you need the 2 gigabyte?" I was like, "Do you have more, please? Do you have more?" Because now I got your big router, and I got your extender, and I got a mesh going on, and it is barely making it from the hours of 4:30 to 9. Barely making it.
Oh yeah.
Anyhow, okay, Dominique. As the people get to know us, they will know that we played basketball in our younger years, right? Yeah. You probably still play basketball. I love to play it on PlayStation. Now, over the weekend, 2 things happened. One, the USA team lost first to Germany and then to Canada. And then 2, the Avengers got the call to assemble. Tell me how you feel and if you're going to Paris next year. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know.
You know, the funny thing about that is I was already planning a trip to Germany next year. So, you know what? I might have to figure out that schedule. Yeah, I might have to figure out that schedule. And you know what? It might be, us in Paris. The Kanye West version. Oh, yeah. It's definitely.
Was that a self-edit?
Oh, yeah. That was a self-edit. That was definitely a self-edit. But I mean, come on, man. Look at this team. Paolo Banchero, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson. Well, Jalen Brunson's a dog, so I'll excuse that one. Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, never heard of that guy. Brandon Ingram, Jaron Jackson Jr., heard of him. Cameron Johnson, Walker. Who was Walker Kessler? Bobby Portis?
Okay, so
Austin Reeves is a dog. But I mean, Bobby Portis, like, I'm sure he's your defensive anchor, but are you serious?
it's an off year. It's FIBA, and it's an off year. Like, there's a part of me that thinks that Grant Hill and Steve Kerr did this specifically so that we could lose
Oh
to
man.
motivate the stars to come to Paris, right?
You know
Like,
what? I wouldn't put that outside the realm of possibility. I wouldn't.
I mean, because I look at the team, it's not that they're bad players. It's just the makeup of the team. They don't have enough bigs. Maybe they couldn't get any bigs. They don't have enough bigs. They have
And
one. They have one guy that you can look at and say, "Go get me a bucket," and who's like, "Okay, give me the ball. I'll go get you a bucket." In Anthony
yeah,
Edwards, you got a bunch of guys that are really good NBA players, but on most teams, they're role players that are really capable, right?
right.
And so when you get in this kind of competition, you're seeing them matched up against guys who are like them, but number one, care a whole lot more. B, are much more knowledgeable about the FIBA game. I was listening to
Right.
JJ Redick talk about it earlier today, and he was saying one of the problems was that they never acclimated on defense. You ain't got to come out the lane in FIBA. Like, you can just
Right.
stand in the middle
Right.
of the lane, right?
Right.
And they never acclimated to it. Not only that, they didn't rebound dominantly as they should. Like, we should have had a more concerted effort with rebounding. But between those two things and these other guys playing like their life depended on it, playing on fire, Dylan Brooks had 39 points in that game that Canada won. Gilchrist Alexander had like 34, right? And you would expect that from Shea Gilchrist
Yeah,
Alexander.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But how you let Dylan Brooks hit for 40 in a game that y'all had to win to get a medal?
The dude
Like,
that got practically ousted out of Memphis.
and
but
I'm
but
not
you know what?
saying,
But here's the thing about FIBA though. A lot of people don't understand. Like, so I lived in Germany for 16 years. I
okay,
played high school basketball over there at an American school. And my coach, he played for the Bundesliga, which is like
mm-hmm,
a pretty decent semi-pro team out there. I went
yeah,
to one of their practices to go run with them. Mind you, this was probably at my peak, at my prime. I couldn't run with those guys. And honestly, I'm probably one of the fastest on the team. Like, I could run, but these
it's
dudes
different.
they run harder, they run faster, they run the entire game. Like, that's just what they do. Like, we
And they
take
play
breaks.
harder too. People
Yeah.
act like, I mean, NBA play is a specific kind of play. Now,
Yeah.
we're not saying that we don't have the better athletes, right? Some people make the argument that athletes are the same. No, we have the better athletes by and large.
Sure.
But just because we have the better athletes doesn't mean that we will excel in that type of play. Like, they play different, right? I'm okay,
Yeah, this roster has zero experience in world play. Zero.
dude. So I was born in Louisiana, right? Lived in North Carolina all of my life. What most people don't understand is that basketball plays different across the country. It just plays different. When you go to a park, go to an open run, it plays
Yep.
different. You play out on the West Coast, depending upon where you play. You might play a Hollywood type game. You might play a Compton type game. Two completely different games in the same city, right?
Right.
If I'm in North Carolina, if I'm in Charlotte, there's a Charlotte kind of game and there's a Fayetteville kind of game. Those are completely
Right.
different styles of play, right? If I take my North Carolina game to Louisiana and I can't hit a 15-foot jumper, I'm not going to win because what they're going to kill me with is jumpers from 15 to
Right.
18 feet. That's how you make your money, and they play hard nosed defense, right? They play defense in
Yep.
Charlotte, but their hands not always on you. They're not within 6 inches of you the
Right.
majority of the time that you are on the court. Overseas guys, so I played with a bunch of them when I was in my playing days. They play a harder nose of basketball. right? The physicality of that game is unless you're ready for it, you're not ready for it, right? And I don't think our guys are ready for it. I looked at the game where they lost to Germany. The stats were just about the same. Matter of fact, I think the U.S. Shot just a little bit better than Germany. The question is, so what was the edge? Germany played hard. They played arm in your back. This is grown man basketball, and the U.S. didn't rise to the occasion, especially with the big guys, especially with the guys that are over 6'5", right?
And I think that game went in over. Was it the Canada game that went in overtime? No, this didn't go in overtime. It's Q4.
Yeah. So and the only way to combat that is having guys that are comfortable with that and having guys that are ultimately skillful, like at the top of the top, which it looks like we're gonna get. Like the reports is that LeBron got on the phone and he made a couple calls and people started committing to it, right? And all the people that are committing to it, this is not the dream team, and this is not the redeem team. I think this is. I'm trying to find a word that rhymes that means like avenge or murder or red something. They're going out there. They're going out there to reclaim their time. Like you tried to embarrass me on international television. This is what you get for the Olympics when everybody is watching. And I fully expect, as long as LeBron is not hurt, and as long as Steph is not hurt, for them to put up massive numbers on that team. If I had baller money, I'd be trying to be in Paris just to watch it. But I know what I will be doing if I can't make it there. I'll be watching on my 86-inch TV.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And okay. So from what I understand, it looks like Joel Embiid could possibly play for Team USA because he holds both U.S. and French citizenship, which I think he'll probably go France because that's where he's originally from at this point.
It all the more better. All the more better.
But I mean, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, LeBron's winding down. This would be, I think by that time, next year is what, year 22?
21, 22,
yeah. So it'd be his last hurrah to go out with a gold medal. I'm pretty sure there's credence to this. Like he's going to recruit Anthony Davis if he's not hurt. Stephen Curry, of course.
Stop.
Look. I can't. I like some people were born with height, and I'm envious of that height and that their body size. I'm very envious of some of that. Like I'm 6'2", but best believe you throw 4 inches on me and about 20 pounds on me. Look, coach, I can give you a double at least.
Man,
I'm going to show up to every game, but
it's okay. It's okay. We have the same height envy. It's okay. I understand. I feel your pain. I look at Anthony Davis too and go, you could be, top 10 all time in the NBA.
You big dummy.
But so just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, the names that are being thrown around with LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, and De'Aaron Fox. Which if they just stop right there.
The 18.
I can't wait.
Yep.
Like Gilbert Arenas was on his podcast crowing and laughing about the fact that, the world was messing around. Now they're about to find out.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a statement. It's definitely gonna be a statement.
So looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, man. Oh man. Did I miss anything? Not
that I can see. I mean, I think we got everything. Once again, just want to encourage everybody to support us in this endeavor. Definitely follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we're all the same handle. So it's at FearTheHive1155. And the funny thing about that is, I don't think we ever told the story about this. But real quick, 11 Fear the Hive 1155 is a saying that we used to have at the store that we used to work at. And as far as I can tell, I don't think they use it anymore. But So it felt apropos that we say, you know what, let's take that and let's run with it with this podcast. So that's where
You
it
know that
comes
store
from.
ain't even a store no more, man. It's an outlet center.
Really?
They changed their whole model up. So every store is in a store. They got like 4 outlet centers. That one has washers and dryers and TVs primarily.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
Yes.
I walked in there and I was like, oh, this is disrespect. All we did to get this thing to where it was. What did y'all do? Like
Oh
we
yeah.
had we had customers that would buy from us and then they would send their kids back when their kids went to college to buy from us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah. Too corporate now.
1155. Good stories.
But yeah. Yeah. Follow us on all major social media.
Hit us up.
Um, definitely. Yeah. Definitely up. I just want to appreciate all the love and support that we've had so far. Definitely want to ask you guys to keep on with us. We're only going to grow from here. I want to thank my co-host Steve for agreeing to do the podcast with me. This has absolutely been fun. I actually look forward to these, and he's great with the show notes. So I mean, definitely keeping that going. But
Hey man, thank you for having me, and look forward. We're getting better at this. We're really raw right now,
yeah.
but I would imagine by the time the Cowboys beat the Redskins, we're gonna have this thing humming, man. I had to bring it back. Had to bring it back because I do have to ask you
Oh
one
my
question
God.
before we go.
What up?
Um, those Cowboys, how about them? How about
You
them?
know what? All right, so guys, we gotta go. This, yeah, whatever. Yeah, Cowboys, huh? Whatever. Yeah, fly Eagles, fly, baby. All right, guys, definitely want to thank you. Tune in next week for us. Like I said, the podcast comes out every Friday. It's going to be on Spotify, also going to be on Apple Podcasts, and a lot of other podcasting sites. So just find us. Fear the Hive 1155. Can't go
Feel the
wrong.
Hive, baby.
Definitely leave us any comments, notes, and want to thank you for our lone audience member who's gone now, but we'll get him on here at some point. So.
All right, guys, have a good one.